They connected an artery from the sheep directly to a vein in the human patient. The animal's blood would then flow into the human's bloodstream, which they thought would help. But as the blood was replaced, the immune system recognized the sheep blood as a threat and attacked it. This triggered severe reactions like fevers and intense pain. Blood clots could form, leading to blockages in vital organs. And some patients experienced kidney failure, went into shock, and died. When you light a stick of dynamite, the fuse burns down to a small charge called a blasting cap. Then the blasting cap detonates, which creates a small explosion that sets off the main part of the dynamite. Inside, a chemical called nitroglycerin rapidly decomposes, producing a large amount of gas in a very short period of time. This gas expands quickly, which results in a big explosion.
They harvested the human fat from graves, then mixed it together with poisonous plants to make an ointment. They rubbed this ointment on a broomstick and climbed on naked, hoping to meet the devil. The chemicals from the plants were absorbed through the skin, causing them to fall unconscious. And in this state, they would hallucinate for hours. Many experienced visions of flying, leading to the myth of witches flying on broomsticks. The bus slid off the icy road during a snowstorm, plunging 30 feet into the lake. It landed partially submerged, with its front end underwater. 6 passengers escaped through a broken window, but as they climbed out, the bus shifted and slid deeper into the lake, disappearing into the frozen depths with the driver and 15 students still inside. Divers later found the bus 210 feet underwater, recovering only 5 bodies. The other 9 victims were never found and laid to rest in the depths of the frozen lake. Chunks of meat began to fall out of the sky in a small Kentucky town. They scattered over a farmer's field, covering a large area. The pieces varied in size, some as big as 2 inches, and others smaller. Some locals even collected the meat and ate it, but no one actually knows where it came from. Some believe that a flock of vultures had overeaten and puked mid-flight. But to this day, the Kentucky meat shower remains a mystery. The nail broke through the board and was driven into the left eye socket of the man below. It traveled through his sinus cavity, went 3 inches into his head, and stopped just before reaching his brainstem at the base of his skull. The nail was just millimeters away from his brain. Doctors were shocked he didn't suffer any major harm. Surgeons successfully removed the nail, and remarkably, he had no long-term damage. If you could somehow pull out all the nerves in your body and stretch them out, you might think they'd only be a couple feet long. But your body has an incredibly complex network of nerves that weave through every muscle, organ, and tissue. And if you lined up all of your nerves end to end, they would stretch around 45 miles, just about reaching to New York City from Long Island. The popcorn machine ignited the gas leaking from a rusty tank, sending a massive blast through the stadium. Chunks of concrete, chairs, and even people were sent flying into the air, but the orchestra kept playing to the 4,000 people inside. They tried to evacuate, but a second explosion from the remaining gas tanks caused a massive fireball. Rescue teams scrambled to help the injured and search for survivors amidst the rubble. But the explosions resulted in 81 deaths and hundreds of injuries, making it one of the deadliest events in Indiana's history. He was pulled into the dryer and trapped inside. Now, this was an industrial dryer, and the man had been clearing the conveyor belt that fed clothes into the machine. But when he climbed on to reach the blockage, he got caught up in the clothes, and there was no one there to help him. Temperatures soared over 300 degrees, and 20 minutes later, co-workers found his dead body.
If you somehow removed all of the blood vessels in your body and tied them together, you might think it would be about this long. But the human body has thousands of these tiny vessels that weave in and out of every body part. And with all of them combined, if you started in New York, your blood vessels would make it all the way to the Grand Canyon. It would go on to reach all the way across the Pacific Ocean, over Japan, Asia, and all of Europe. And not only would it make it all the way back to your starting point, but it would be able to make this trip 2 to 4 times over.
Corsets used to be squeezed so tight back in the 19th century that some women actually had their internal organs shifted around, and this would sometimes cause them severe digestive issues. Some women also experienced breathing problems and would faint frequently. Wearing a tight corset from a young age often caused deformities in the rib cage, making them narrow and compressed as they aged.